Hello, son. We are still out here in the middle of Georgia near the lake, and we are having a great time. But the question that is on my mind is, what are the ethics around making content for children that in turn ruins the next generation? I don't know about you guys, but most of the top creators in the entire world have an audience of children. It's just the reality of it, right? We have gaming channels, Roblox channels, Minecraft channels, Mr. Beast, for heaven's sake, Jake Paul, Logan Paul. All of these top level creators, they have a huge portion of their audience that is 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12, whatever, right? The list goes on. And a lot of times, I think it is very easy for us to talk about how our kids are ruining their attention span is shrinking. TikTok is making them have the attention span less than a goldfish. It's very easy to blame the kids not being able to focus, and easy to blame the kids for, not having, for just viewing stuff that maybe is out of their age range, right? It's easy to blame them for that. Because what ends up happening is there's no limit on YouTube. You have YouTube Kids, but that's terrible. No one actually uses that. So it makes you wonder, like, if I were cranking out content that I knew my main audience were 10-year-olds, how would I feel about that? Would I feel like I'm helping? Would I feel like I'm doing a good job? Would I even feel like I'm doing anything at all? Because, like, is that even good for kids? Like, are you actively poisoning a child by creating content? Or are you just investing in your audience? Like, I feel like what's really cool is, for example, PewDiePie made a lot of videos and a lot of his audience were kids, but then those kids grew up. And now that man is essentially set for life because his audience grew up with him. So they grew up watching him, so they grew up and they still watch him. Maybe they don't, maybe they grew out of it, but there's still a core audience there, right? And I think I know the answer to this question, and so I'll save you the trouble of thinking too philosophically about this. But I think the real answer is it is okay to make content for children. I do think there needs to be some level of like people make content that is kid friendly, quotations kid friendly, and then they talk about sex, drugs, alcohol. They bleep out curse words, which I know some people say makes clean, but I don't think it does. I don't think that's kid-friendly content. I think there's half, if I were a parent, which I'm about to be soon, I would not let my kid watch half of the YouTube creators out there. I definitely wouldn't let I wouldn't let them watch Mr. Beast. I wouldn't let them watch Eric. I wouldn't let them watch, I think the only one I would let them watch is like Ryan Trahan. Maybe I'd let them watch, I don't know, not even like Dream or the Dream SMP or Carl. Like, I wouldn't let them watch those. It would have to go by a pretty severe check of who are they, what are their influences, what do they believe. So I don't think we can blame the creators, is all I'm going to say. I think what we are missing is the idea that parents need to regulate what their children watch. It is the responsibility of the parent to know what their kid is and shouldn't be watching. I think it's stupid that some parents just like give their kid a cell phone. Like, if your kid, maybe I'm old school, but if your kid is younger than 13, they shouldn't have a phone. And they definitely shouldn't have an iPad. And if your kid is younger than 15 or 18, I don't think they should have a smartphone. One of my good friends, his son has a phone, but it's literally a flip phone, and he's not allowed to have an iPhone until he turns 18. And I think that's great. I think it's stupid that teenagers feel like they have to have a smartphone. Maybe I'm dumb, and maybe you guys, some of y'all watching this are like, I'm 15 and I have a smartphone. And I think, that's great. Do I think that that's healthy? No, actually. I'm so lucky that I didn't get an iPhone until I turned 18, because I knew what relationship I was like old enough to understand how becoming addicted to social media might affect me. And I'm still relatively addicted to social media, let's just say that. But at least I knew what it was. I knew how to stop. Like, I've purposely stopped. Like, I've fasted from social media for days, for weeks. I've gotten off social media for days or weeks at a time. I know how to control myself relatively, and I don't think kids know how to do that, and they don't understand how to do that. And I'll just continue this rant here because I feel like most kids don't know how to choose proper mentors. They don't know how to filter out whether or not they should listen to somebody. They just see someone is on a screen and they think that they should listen to someone. That is not the case. Just because I am on a screen does not mean you need to listen to me. You should be listening to me because you agree with me. You know what my underlying beliefs, so you want to hear what I have to say. Am I using rationale? Am I using logic? Am I using sound reasoning? Is it beneficial? Is it positive? Is it encouraging? Is it uplifting? Is it critical, but in a positive and encouraging way? I think there are so many things that we as adults have to figure out on, like, who do we listen to, that kids have no idea how to do that. And so what we end up doing is when we just leave our kids with a phone, and when kids just have free range on YouTube, then they don't know how to determine who they should even be watching or listening to. So I think it is not the creator's job to make or to focus on the kids and to make content for the kids. The creator's job should be to make content that they believe is the best and is their best work always. And it needs to be an outpouring of who they are as a person. So if they cuss, if they say negative things, if they do certain things, that's on them. They should have the right to do that. I don't think parents are given enough. We do not hold parents accountable enough for what we're letting them do or not do with their kids. I think there needs to be a huge resurgence of being okay with limiting what your kid watches and engages with and sees. I've seen some people online talk about how parents who check their kids' phones are invading their privacy. And I think that's absolutely bonkers. If your kid paid for their own phone and pays for their own cell phone bill, then you don't have the right to check their phone. Relatively. I still think there should be a level of that. But most likely no kid's going to actually do that. If you paid for your kid's phone and you're paying for them to use a phone, you have every right to know every single detail that goes on in their phone. Hands down. No questions asked. There should not be this like it's the same concept of like my room. Like, don't come into my room. It's like your room. Who paid for that room? Did you pay for that room? And then it's not your room. You're just borrowing the room. You're borrowing the cell phone. You're renting it. I just think I remember what it was like being a kid and a teenager, and I wanted to own things, but I just didn't have the money to. That's why I grew up and moved on and left my parents, and I still talk to them, whatever. I love them. But that's why I grew out of living with them, is because I wanted ownership. And unless you don't know, like, if you have this feeling of ownership with stuff your parents bought, then that's an issue. So I think overall is you should be allowed to make whatever you want. You might have to, balance. You might have to balance that kind of stuff for the algorithm. Like, hey, what is the? Oh. Oh, sorry. Something's going on over there. But you should have to listen to the algorithm and your own heart, is what I'm trying to say. But you shouldn't have to adhere to whether or not you shouldn't have to parent a kid through a video camera. Let me say that one more time. You shouldn't have to parent a kid to a video camera. Okay. Talk to you tomorrow. Love you.